Moses Mwangi says that the decision of President Uhuru Kenyatta to agree to meet Ruto absolves him from any blame should the country go south. Jubilee Secretary General says that Ruto is seeking Uhuru to save him from the shame of a collapsing country.
A very good gesture. It's a climb down by Dr. Ruto to realize that he needs to talk to the former president, who may be in a better position to understand and to advise him on how he needs to steady the Kenyan boat. Because politically, things have not been well, and especially concerning the politics of Mount Kenya, which is the major voting bloc that put him in power.
Despite the blame games that Ruto and his former deputy president descended to the Jubilee administration, Ruto now turns to Uhuru Kenyatta to save himself.
Would try as much as they can to try and give a perception that President Uhuru was okaying or was receiving Ruto and embracing him politically, because that is in their best interest. But the truth of the matter is that what he did was to receive him in his house and then told him the issues that he has also gathered from Kenyans that are of concern, that he, as the head of government.
The restless Mount Kenya region is a focus of the conversation, but Uhuru allies are maintaining that the Rigathi Gachagua antics do not scare them, as he has no influence.
By the outcome of yesterday, if Gachagua will not even try to dare to go to look for Uhuru, for what? You have the people. What do you want to go for Uhuru? His money? No. Uhuru fought his battle. Fight your own battle. Yes. And it is not important to feel that a politician, you must seek the strength of the Godfathers. You don't require to. Yes, just get connected to people. Yes, those are the bosses.
On the flip side, when the Gen Zs descended on Ruto's government, Raila Odinga came to the rescue, placing President Ruto at the mercy of Odinga and his ODM. Despite the entry of the 4 opposition politicians into government, ODM is said to be demanding more in the upcoming appointments. By bringing in Uhuru Kenyatta, President Ruto hopes to neutralize Odinga should the truce head the inclusive way.
Not any fear that Uhuru will not sit there to tell William how to win back the mountain. He will sit here to tell him the issues that the people in the mountain and everywhere else in the country are complaining about. The work of anybody in government is to deal with the issues that are of concern to Kenyans.
The handshake places Rigathi Gachagua in a corner as the battle for the kingpin for the mountain re-emerges. For Uhuru allies, pushing themselves as the new opposition who are making a killing from criticizing the government will have to re-strategize. Already, Moses Kuria has alluded to the possibility of Uhuru Kenyatta returning to politics. In doing so, Kuria announced that he was considering returning to the Jubilee Party following the meeting between Ruto and Uhuru, which he termed as a successful endeavor. Kuria wants President William Ruto, retired President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga to come together and give Kenyans a new constitution in form of a BBI2. Martin Opio, K24 TV, Nairobi.
The Center for Multi-Party Democracy has criticized President Ruto's government, accusing it of orchestrating a coup d'etat by failing to appoint the leadership of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. They asserted that the country remains in a state of limbo until a functional electoral body is established. Additionally, the leaders condemned the practice of politicians making public church offerings, claiming that the money comes from taxpayers and should instead benefit Kenyans directly. Naivasha Member of Parliament Jane Kihara, elected in a United Democratic Alliance UDA party ticket, expressed concerns about the country's direction.
Give Reverend as a minute. Thank you. The streets.
This year's International Human Rights theme, Our Rights, Our Future, Right Now, shows that neither disillusionment nor the self-delusion of the state are going to despair us, are going to take over. Kenya is caught in the middle of a whirlwind political storm, kicked off by the death of the Ruto executive and the parliament, why have they died? When the Ruto executive co-opted the Kenya parliament into its executive, they skewed the state and rendered Kenya stateless. So right now we are stateless.
Elections, the right to vote, the right to vie are one of the fundamental rights, one of the rights and fundamental freedoms enshrined in Article 38 of the Constitution. And therefore, it's not a light issue. And being a right, therefore, if we have to talk about inclusion, we are simply saying one very simple thing, that every vote must count, and must count with equal weight. Therefore, do we have a system that can ensure every vote counts? Let us have 290 presidential elections in every constituency. Let the results be published and pinned on the wall, and let us have the capacity to know who has been elected. We don't have to wait for 7 days. The Americans are going to do their bombers in January next year. Don't they know who won the election? Don't we know Trump won? Why are our elections opaque for the presidential election?
President William Ruto has continued to defend the government's plan to roll out livestock vaccination from next month despite criticism. Speaking at the Pastoralist Community Leadership Conference in Wajir County, the president said the program is important in controlling the spread of diseases and opening up international markets for livestock products in Kenya. The president once again called out leaders opposed to the program barely a week after he attacked Kenyans who have continued to oppose government's policies. Our reporter, Edwin Mbugua, has more details on the story.
President William Ruto has visited Wajir County for the first time since being elected. This visit comes at a time when the president continues to face criticism over his remarks against Kenyans opposing government policies. The president has now advanced his harsh attacks to leaders opposing the government livestock vaccination program.
There is an evil spirit in Kenya that is resident in some leaders. They churn out falsehood. They oppose everything for the sake of opposing. I mean, foot and mouth disease, PPR, are diseases we have been fighting ever since I was born. It is nothing new.
Speaking at the 4th Pastoralist Leadership Conference in Wajir County, the president defended the government-planned nationwide livestock vaccination campaign, insisting the program is critical in managing diseases prevalence and opening up international markets for Kenya's livestock products.
We are going to carry out this vaccination because it is the right thing to do, because we need to take charge of disease control and open up markets for our animal products.
These strong remarks by the president come a few days after his program was criticized by Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, who claimed the program is a government ploy to harm Kenyans.
The vaccination exercise is only the harbinger of more sinister things to follow. The scheme is to eradicate farm animal production entirely.
The president also stated this initiative also aligns with Kenya's efforts to position as a major vaccine producer in Africa, as the vaccines will be sourced from the Kenya's Veterinary Vaccines Production Institute.
And we are going to use vaccines that are produced by Kenya right here at home, so that even as we develop vaccines that we are selling to other countries, we are doing the same to our country.
The president also took the opportunity to make commitments to the residents of Wajir.
Hii town yenu ya Wajir, contractor nitakuja naye Januari ya kupanga mambo ya sewage system. mimi nitatoa nafasi katika Teachers Training College. Vijana wa hapa waamue kuwa walimu, wapatiwe sponsorship na hawa viongozi, na mimi I will give them positions, affirmative action position katika Teachers Training College, ndio watoto wa hapa wapate walimu kutoka Wajir County.
Edwin Mbugwa, K.
In a move aimed at accelerating delivery of end-to-end experience in advertising and marketing across media, Dentsu Kenya has confirmed 2 new senior appointments in a reorganization of its executive team meant to increase efficiency in the business. Samantha Kipuri and Joel Rao have been named as co-CEOs following Christopher Madison's step down as the CEO. The company says that the new leadership model marks a new era for the organization, setting the stage for transformative growth and innovation in the marketing and customer experience landscape across Kenya and beyond, thus contributing indirectly to societal and economic development. Joel Rao, with his expertise in digital and customer experience management, will lead transformative customer-first solutions powered by cutting-edge technology and insights. Kipuri's knowledge of media will be instrumental in shaping groundbreaking strategies and delivery transformative outcomes. She will drive strategy in media, focusing on operational excellence, creativity, and strategic partnerships that create long-term value. Elsewhere, the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentist Union KMPDU has threatened to paralyze operations in all hospitals in Machakos if the county continues to ignore the striking medics. KMPDU Secretary General Davji Atela announced that by next week they will recall all doctors and stage a demonstration following months of unresolved strike. Meanwhile, medics have announced plans to camp at the Ministry of Health offices starting tomorrow to demand payment for interns, this even as doctors at Nairobi Hospital issued a one-week strike notice calling for the resignation of the hospital's management board. Elected Odera with that report.
For over 2 months now, medical services in Machakos County have come to a halt. The ongoing doctors' strike has exacerbated patients' frustration as they seek medical services, especially at Machakos Level 5 Hospital, where wards have remained deserted.
The national strike that is to commence on 22nd of December 2024, Machakos, together with all other counties, will be part of it. Unless the county complies and pays these doctors, the county complies and implements the CBA.
Patients' hopes were dashed today after KMPDU Secretary General Davji Atela announced a series of demonstrations starting next week.
Kwa zile minimum service ambazo zilikuwa zikifanyika, tutaambia madaktari watoke nje. Kwa sababu hao madaktari wanahitaji hizi promotions, hao madaktari wanataka ile nyongeza wa mshahara ambao ulikubaliwa katika ile CBA.
Jamaican reggae sensation Etana has promised fans an electrifying performance on the 14th of December at the Embassy Bistro along Thika Road, Nairobi. The show, which was set for the 7th, has been postponed, but it is now back with a bang. Organizers have also pledged an unforgettable evening of soulful reggae music and vibrant energy. Our reporter Majibu Kisao spoke to Etana earlier this evening.
Hope you kept your ticket. And so you can use that ticket on the 14th at the embassy, where we are going to just do the thing.
This is the first time you're coming to this beautiful country. Yeah. Maybe this time around, what should your fans expect different maybe from the other shows?
I mean, we have new music. I'll be doing songs that they already know. I'll be doing songs from the Nectar of the Gods album that was just released. And Kenya has already told me what they wanted to hear on Facebook. So the list of those songs will be played in that show. So it's just like a different vibe, a different time, new music, music you already know, and a good vibe. I think, you know, more than anything is the vibe. Even the pass-through last night at the event, at the venue, was so full of people with high energy. I can't imagine what it's going to be like in the show.
Evening edition, thank you for making time for the segment. And you've heard right there, the show is back on. Make sure you avail yourselves at the venue and get an evening of soulful reggae vibes, all courtesy of Etana. We leave it at that for K24 Evening Edition tonight. I'm Alan Owino. Our sign language interpreter for this session has been Walter Asewe. Do have yourselves a lovely one.
A dynamic, lively, inspiring,